What's up, YouTube? Shawn DaGamer. And if you watch SmackDown and you don't watch Talking Smack, you are missing the best 20 minutes of SmackDown every week. About the best 20-25 minutes. SmackDown is always going to be better than Raw. Just because of Talking Smack alone. What's up, guys? Shawn DaGamer here. And let's talk about SmackDown from this week. The January 3rd show of 2017. The first SmackDown of 2017. And what a show it was. Everything included. Excluding 205 Live. Because that's a part of Raw. Remember, 205 Live is an extension of Raw. So, I don't know. It's just I can't. If 205 Live was taped in front of like Full Sail or in a smaller venue, it'd be so much better because a lot of these people don't really know who Gallagher is. A lot of people don't know who Tony Nese is and Drew Gulak. They know they're good and they're up and coming talents, but they don't really understand the cruiserweight style. So that's why I feel like 205 Live should be in a smaller venue. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is a traveling show, it should still be in like smaller venues. They should like find like, you know, I hate to say it like this, but the ballrooms and things like that for SmackDown Live. And I think that'd be a better, more intimate feel for the cruiserweight. So anyways, we're here to talk about SmackDown. SmackDown started off the show with The Miz coming out, Dean Ambrose. You know, that whole situation, it kept evolving, kept escalating. Maurice slapped the dog. Maurice was going around slapping everybody tonight. She slapped the Miz. No, the Maurice slapped Ambrose, and she found Renee. Renee was just chilling in the back somewhere, waiting to get her interview on with somebody, and got some shit smacked out of her. And they addressed it later on, but that's how the show starts off with the Miz talking about how he wanted a apology from Renee Young. Dean came out. You know, I like this Dean Ambrose. I like a silent, angry, little words Dean Ambrose, and he just comes out and wrestles and does his job. I love that Dean Ambrose. I don't like lunatic fringe talk show being funny and wild and stupid Dean Ambrose. I like a, you know, semi-serious, you know, lunatic kind of like, what is he about to do? He doesn't say too much, so we don't know what he's going to do, Dean Ambrose. And that's what we got tonight. What else did we get tonight? We got Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. And we finally got the return of Heel Ziggler. @ Heel Ziggler is finally back, and I love it. We had a good 10-15 minute match between Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler to start the show off. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, same era, new era, same-ish. But when it comes to Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, when it comes to people like that, they can always deliver something different every time in the ring. It's been a while since we've seen them one-on-one. I say about a couple of months since that whole little feud they had earlier in 2016. But this match was really, really good. Baron Corbin won with the End of Days. And after the match, Baron Corbin was about to continue to beat up on Dolph Ziggler. He went and got a steel chair. Kalisto came out. I'm like, oh, Kalisto. And then, Lord behold, I love me a heel. I love me a good heel. I'm a heel at heart. I'm the bad guy at heart, but Dolph Ziggler kicked the dog shit out of Kalisto. Kalisto tried to come out and save Dolph Ziggler, and Kalisto got his head kicked off by Dolph Ziggler. And that's great. That's amazing. And then you have Dolph Ziggler over Kalisto telling him, I don't need you. I don't need anybody. I'm the man in this bitch. Yada, yada, yada. He just got pissed. And he's like, okay, the return of Heel Ziggler. And then it came back later on in the show where Dolph Ziggler went backstage, still pissed off, destroying the locker room. Rhino, Mojo, and Cruz were back there. And then they were like, yo, what's going on with you, Ziggs? Yada, yada, yada. We understand you're frustrated and things like that. And then Ziggler was like, yeah, if y'all don't get the hell out of my face, if I want to attack people, yada, 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 y'all don't understand. Y'all ain't nothing, yada, yada, yada. And then whatever I did with Kalisto, that's my business. It don't got nothing to do with y'all. And then I thought it would have made more sense if Mojo Rawley had stepped up because, you know, the Lucha Dragons and the Hype Bros, NXT and things like that. But, you know, Apollo stepped up and like, Kalisto's my friend, so so I'm gonna make it my business. And then this nigga Ziggler was like, no he didn't, and proceeded to headbutt and beat the dog mess out of Apollo Crews. My boy Hill Ziggler is back. Hill Ziggler is back. Lord praise him. We're getting the heel Dolph Ziggler again, hopefully. Hopefully we're getting heel Dolph Ziggler back, and I love it. So what else do we have tonight on SmackDown? SmackDown was such a good show. We had Breezango versus the Alphas. Alphas made quick work of my favorite team on the planet, Breezango, because Tyler Breeze and Fandango, they just need to team up with Dolph Ziggler and just be the baddest, goddamn, prettiest, goddamn trio on the goddamn planet. Other than the Worldwide Underground, because Jack Evans, PJ Black, and John Morrison, that is a handsome, debonair trio, if you ask me. Anyways, so they made quick work of those, and then we had the promo, you know, the Wyatt promo where Bray was pretty much saying we're coming back next week to get our titles back, and then Luke was about to do his run thing, you know, he had, you know, run, and then they do all the crazy stuff on the screen, and then he got cut off by Randy Orton. I thought that was funny because Luke, he stepped up, he did the step up, and then Randy Orton came out and go, run. I'm like, what the hell? What else did we get? We got La Luchadora versus Becky Lynch. Turned out to be Alexa Bliss. Another, I don't know what's going on with this whole La Luchadora thing. But apparently La Luchadora / Becky Lynch won the match. Something like that. I wasn't really paying attention because I was just like, why are they still doing this La Luchadora thing? If it's not going to be Tamina or Mickie James, I don't really care. But it's a good way to keep these two in storyline, you know, a little twist to their feud. So another women's feud that continued tonight was Nikki Bella and Natty. And this was one of those segments that started off with both women in the ring. Remember, they hate each other, but the segment started off with the two of them in the ring, and I hate segments like that. If it's, you know, like Enzo and Cass, if they, you know, already in the ring when we come back from commercial break, that's fine, they're a duo. But when you got heel and face standing in the ring with microphones, with no security in the ring, and they're supposed to hate each other, they've been attacking each other and things like that, doesn't make sense to me. But the segment itself was pretty good. You know, Nikki Bella called out Natalya for using the heart name to get where she is, and then Natty, you know, pretty much said once you get old and ugly, John Cena gonna leave you and you gonna die alone. and then Nikki just popped the mess out of Natalya. It was a quick, short little segment. Like I said, I didn't like the way it started with both of them in the ring at the same time. But as they started, you know, throwing jabs at each other, you know, I'm better than you. You ain't nothing. You use your looks in your body to get where you are. Well, you use the heart name to get where you are. Well, you're only good because John Cena, your man, and when you ugly, he gonna leave you. And then, you know, Nikki popped her ass and laid her out for a couple of seconds, and then the segment ended. Well, I don't understand what this whole segment is. Why isn't Carmella and Natty, and even, you know, I feel like at this point, if you were there while Nikki and Brie were on top, like if you're a Natty, a Natalya, no wait, same person. If you're a Natty, a Naomi, or, you know, one of these younger people like a Carmella or Alexa Bliss, I believe y'all should all be on the same page, you know, going against Nikki Bella. Like, it should be like Nikki Bella versus the world on her reign to try to become SmackDown Women's Champion. That just makes a little bit more sense to me. Hopefully they'll start doing things like that for Nikki Bella, just to give her a little bit more momentum, because eventually she's going to win that SmackDown Women's belt. But when she does, I just want it to be like, you know, her battling against people like I said, Naomi, Natalya, Carmella, all these people that like have been there, and like Nikki Bella pretty much wrestling good to great matches on her way to maybe fight Becky Lynch or Alexa Bliss for the women's title. And I just think that's a good way to do it. Even Marie, if you want to throw her in that mix of people that Nikki Bella has to step on to get her way to the title, and I just hope that happens. Speaking of title matches, we had the contract signing between John Cena and AJ Styles. You know, when these two get in the ring, it's just going to be shots fired left and right. AJ Styles was throwing out all the things. You know, you're a part-timer, that's cool though, but if you're going to be a part-timer, at least make good movies like The Rock does. And then AJ, you know, he kept saying the things like, "Oh, you're a part-timer. You're gonna leave us for Hollywood. Your heart is not really in it. Yada yada yada." And then John Cena came back with his John Cena retorts. You know, I'm the face that run the place. I've been doing this non-stop for the past 15 years. He was talking about his touring schedule, his wrestling schedule, his appearance schedule. His you know, all the things that John Cena does, including the WWE, which is something you cannot take away from John Cena at all. That's something I will never ever take away from John Cena, and I respect him so much. I don't believe anybody has worked a schedule like John Cena has over the past 10 to 15 years when it comes to wrestling appearances, acting, Make-A-Wish, and all that stuff. Nobody does more than John Cena does in and outside the ring. No matter what you think about his wrestling abilities, like, you know, if you're somebody like me who's just on the fence, you know, used to, you know, not be you. I was a fan of John Cena, then I wasn't a fan of John Cena, and now I've turned the corner again where John Cena has my respect. And, you know, I'm not gonna be one of those ones like, oh, John Cena needs to go away, yada yada yada. John Cena has an important part in this company, things like that. And I don't know how I went on this soapbox rant about that, but the segment itself was really, really good. Baron Corbin came out. Yeah, I know. Baron Corbin came out and he pretty much said, "Hey, John Cena, fuck you. AJ, what up? Fuck you too. I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble. I'm gonna win the WWE Championship, yada yada yada." Cena was like, "Okay, I'm glad you're out here because I know AJ, little punk ass, ain't gonna fight me, so I'm gonna fight you." And then they start clearing the ring, yada yada yada. And then I mentioned Daniel Bryan was in this segment for just the beginning of the segment. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, they start clearing the ring, yada yada yada. You thought those two was gonna brawl, and then AJ hit John Cena with the cleanest insecurity out of nowhere. I mean, how do you hit somebody with an insecurity out of nowhere? You gotta jump, you gotta position your body, you gotta do some leg stuff, and then you gotta pop him in the face with your foot. How do you get hit with an insecurity out of nowhere, Cena? But after that, Baron Corbin stood over John Cena's prone, laid out body, and was like, "AJ was right. Your time is up. Yada yada yada. You're just a part-timer." And we'll continue all that later on in this review. Then what else happened? Am I missing anything else important? I talked about the Ziggler stuff, talked about the women's stuff, talked about this, talked about the tag team title match that's going to be set up for next week. Oh god, that's disgusting. But what else did I miss? I think that's about it. So we can go on to the main event. We talked about Maurice going around slapping people. So we get to the main event, Dean Ambrose versus The Miz for the IC title. This match was good. It lasted about, I say, 15 to 20 minutes. Really, really good match between these two. And Maurice slapped Dean Ambrose around the end of the match. The ref was about to disqualify them, and Dean was like, no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. I want to win this match, you know, yada, yada, yada. So he just prompted the referee to just send Maurice to the back, in which he did. While Maurice was walking to the back, The Miz went and popped Dean Ambrose in the back of the head with the IC title. 1, 2. He did not get the 3 count. More shenanigans happened in the match. Then all of a sudden, Dean Ambrose hits The Miz with the most prominent finishing move in all of WWE and sports entertainment today, the Dirty Deeds. Nobody kicks out of the Dirty Deeds. 1, 2, 3. New Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Now let's transition over to the Talking Smack, where we start off the show with a interview segment between, you know, Daniel Bryan and Renee Young talking about the situation that happened early in the night. Maurice was fined, I think it said like $5,000, $10,000, something between those lines, for her actions for putting her hands on a non-active competitor in the ring. And then who came first? Baron Corbin came out and did his little interview where he pretty much said he's gonna beat the shit out of John Cena next week. Baron Corbin is so good when he's not in the ring on the mic. If you want to know why a lot of people are high on Baron Corbin right now, you have to watch his Talking Smack segments. Because they're just really him talking. And he's not doing that whole, John Cena, next week, I'm gonna beat your butt in the ring. No, on Talking Smack, he's talking like a regular person, like I'm talking to you guys now. You know, he talks a little bit slower, but it's like, you know, I'm a badass talk so he talks like, you know what? I respect John Cena for all the things he done 15 years ago. But that was 15 years ago. He's a part-timer now. I'm here every day, whooping ass, taking names, yada, yada, yada. He's a part-timer. And pretty much hyping his match next week for John Cena, saying he respects him, but his time is up, and Baron Corbin's time is now. And it's just, it wasn't like him and Daniel Bryan going back and forth, arguing and things like that. We'll get into that in a second. It was just them pretty much talking like, hey, Baron, you said you wanted more competition and you went out and got it in John Cena. Well, yes, Daniel Bryan, I did want better competition and I did find it in John Cena. And next week, I'm going to prove why I am one of the new young guns of this company. Why, thank you, Baron. So hopefully next week you do good, yada, yada, yada. How do you feel about John Cena in this? Well, John Cena, you know, it was just like a nice, I don't know, it felt right listening to Baron Corbin and Daniel Bryan talk. And this is how you use your GMs. I know a little while ago I mentioned that that Daniel Bryan, he started off the AJ Styles John Cena segment, but he literally was like, all right, I know how this works. I'm gonna let y'all do this. Try not to kill each other. Bye. So he pretty much introduced them, said, here's the contract. Y'all sign it. Deuces. See y'all later. And then we see him for the next 20-some minutes on Talking Smack, where he's just talking about his show, where that makes so much sense. He's the general manager. He has Renee Young there, you know, one of the brightest interviewers / hosts they have for the future, and they don't need to let her go or change her character or anything like that. Let Renee Young be Renee Young. I love Renee Young. I love that girl so much. She's so good at her job, and she's the perfect person for what she needs to do and what they will need her to do. And I love Renee Young. After that, Daniel Bryan then goes into, he actually went into explaining why people don't like part-timers. Like, he even used the whole, he even used Dean Ambrose, Renee Young's boyfriend or whatever, as an example, saying like, when people started getting hurt a couple of years ago, Dean Ambrose was there every day, doing every show, doing every appearance, and then you got somebody like John Cena who comes in a couple of times a year now, gets these big pops and get all these big accolades. And even Daniel Bryan was like, I used to be on the side of people who hated part-timers. Well, he didn't say like hated that, but he was pretty much saying, I used to understand where people came from being not liking part-timers, but as a general manager, I understand that we need these people like a John Cena, Undertaker, HBK to be special attractions. And he was just, for like 5 or 10 minutes, he was just talking about that. And it was just really fascinating. Even Renee Young was like, this is fascinating. Can we talk about this for the rest of the night? But as they were talking, Carmella and James Ellsworth showed up. And then they started questioning, you know, their little relationship, yada, yada, yada. They had a couple of minutes of them talking to Carmella and James Ellsworth, pretty much not understanding this relationship. And then we get to the meat and potatoes of Talking Smack. It didn't even last that long. It lasted about 3 minutes. The Miz came in pissed that he just lost his title to Renee Young's boyfriend, and was like, you're just gonna let this happen, aren't you? You're gonna let this happen. Nobody deserves to be in the ring with me. Nobody deserves the Intercontinental Championship shot, and I didn't deserve to lose tonight. And then Daniel Bryan was pretty much like, you know what? That's the problem. You don't think anybody deserves a shot, But in reality is everybody is better than you. And then the Miz snapped. The Miz just snapped. He literally said, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of everybody disrespecting me. I'm sick of this company. I am the best wrestler. I'm gonna prove it. Yada, yada, yada. You remember earlier? I said Dolph Ziggler, Breezango, they need to form a faction. Throw the Miz in there. Just throw the Miz in there. Let those four, plus Maurice, go around and let them run SmackDown, beating up everybody, proving that. Because when you think about it, well, maybe not, you know, Breezango along in there, but if you put the Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and Maurice together as a tag team with, you know, Maurice as manager, oh my God, and be like, we are the most underrated people on this roster. You will have the most athletically talented guy in most people's eyes in Dolph Ziggler, and the safest worker in a lot of people's eyes, but somebody who's been on top of their game ever since he walked in the door, in the Miz, and you put them together as a tag team. Oh my God, that'd be great. I can just imagine the Miz and Dolph Ziggler as a heel tag team running SmackDown. That'd be great. That's something that I want to see. And that's pretty much it for SmackDown. I know Renee Young and The Miz got into it on that segment as well, where you're just going to let this happen. You're going to let the announcer, you know, talk to me and do all these things, yada, 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 put her hands on me. She was like, well, damn. I was like, well, you started it. You brought up her man. It was just, I love the reality that they're putting into SmackDown Live. They're putting so much effort into making it, like, you know, personal with these storylines. Even when you look at the card, you have the Alphas, who are this tag team that everybody wants to win, but these young guys who everybody's like, oh, they don't need it yet, and they get the belts, and now they gotta pretty much, you know, fight to retain them and things like that. At this point, they have their first title defense against the Wyatts next week, and that might be the main event the way they were talking, which I would love to see, the Alphas versus the Wyatts in the main event of SmackDown. That'd be great. You have all the stuff with the Divas. None of the Divas like Nikki Bella for the most part, and it's like I said, Nikki Bella versus the world because of her relationship with John Cena and her position in the company and how she got there. Then you got AJ Styles and John Cena, who just don't like each other because one made their career in the Indies being the best in the world, and the other one made their career in the WWE being the best in the world in his company. But AJ Styles just feels like if he was there wouldn't be a John Cena, and vice versa. And John Cena feels like if AJ Styles was there wouldn't be an AJ Styles because John Cena would still be number one. And I like that dynamic. And then you, like I said, you got the things with the IC title picture with Dolph Ziggler being pissed at everything, The Miz being pissed at everything, and Dean Ambrose just being Dean Ambrose. And then you got and now with The Miz and Dean Ambrose and Maurice and Renee being involved, it just makes everything a lot more personal, and it's just so much better than Raw. It just, And then you got Talking Smack, which is just a great show. So, am I crazy? Leave your thoughts on Talking Smack, even in 205 Live and SmackDown Live down below. Am I crazy with my opinions and things like that? Do you think that Dolph Ziggler and The Miz should be a tag team and they could be like the greatest tag team ever if they were heels? How do you feel about what I said about Nikki Bella versus the world, or her come up to win a women's title? Just what do you think about SmackDown overall as a brand? It's better than Raw, we all know that, but what are your thoughts on SmackDown overall, this show in general? Leave a comment down below. Follow all the links down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and more. All linked in the description down below. I talked for 25 minutes about SmackDown. Just because SmackDown was a good show, I try to keep these reviews about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, but SmackDown was just good. There's just so much to talk about. So, hopefully next week I can try to keep my words shorter and things like that. If you watch this whole video, I thank you. Like I said, all the links are down below. There should be some more annotations popping up any second now. leave a like, comment down below, share this video out with your friends, and subscribe if you have not already. And once you hit that subscribe button, there's going to be a little bell that pops up. Hit the bell too to always be notified when a new video is live on the channel. So with all that being said, I'm going to take some more medicine real quick. Shawn DaGamer, out of here.